What's up, everybody? Thralls of Metal here. I'm Jammin John.
Necrotic, Nick.
And we are bringing you yet another album review. And this time we're going over something that I didn't even know was coming out until a couple of days ago. I saw it on the roster and I said, ooh, yeah, I love this band. So we are going over the newest offering from Reburied, Mourning. This comes out on the 18th of July on Translation Lost Records. This band formed in 2018 in Seattle, Washington. This is their second full length. They have one split with Deconsecration that's also really good. I got into them with their first album, Repulsive Nature. For those that don't know, this is just straightforward death metal. Got a really old school feel to it. It's groovy. It's got a little bit of doom. It's got tons of atmosphere.
I got into them actually with that split with Deconsecration. I was kind of drawn to that horrifically terrifying album cover. I don't know. There's something about that album cover just ugh. But then I got Repulsive Nature and I was like, all right, this is pretty solid. And that was kind of what I had, in terms of like, all right, a template. Like, this is what they're going to sound like. Even the stuff on the split was kind of similar to what was on the first full length. But this is a bit different. While Repulsive Nature definitely had a lot of distance and atmosphere, I mean, it was still gritty. It was still gross. Like, this band is kind of in that whole Pacific Coast scene with a lot of other disgusting bands, Mortiferum and Witch Vomit. Great stuff. This album, I feel like they kind of regressed and went just even more primal. And this is heavier. This is denser. This is possibly even grosser sounding too. Like, this album has like a dense crust around it, and once you peel that off, it's just slime, snot, and fucking entrails.
Actually, that's pretty spot on. Yeah, versus their last record, which again I loved, this seems to be less about the disgusting atmosphere and more about the groove. There is so much more by way of heavy chugs going on here than there was in the last record. Don't get me wrong, last record was heavy, but this is just straight gnarly through and through.
Lots of just like flat out like 90s old school death metal charm to it. It's packed full of riffs. It's grosser than hell. Right from the rip, the opening track, Habitual Illusion, you get this wave of like just atmosphere and static and crackling, and then it just slams you over the head with this disgusting guitar tone. This guitar tone is thick and heavy, and I think one of the big reasons why this one sounds a lot different is, production-wise, this was handled by Greg Wilkinson, and that guy has a very particular sound, and believe me, you will always hear the bass in any of his mixes. But everything on here sounds much more crisp, more dense, but it still sounds grittier than hell. Like, Greg has just a really cool way about mixing things to where everything still sounds raw, like a very 90s death metal sound, but he gets like a good balance in terms of like making sure every instrument and every layer has like room to breathe in the mix.
Character to it.
Yeah. But this album just kind of beats you over the head with just menacing riff after menacing riff. There's very little on here that I would say is more tuneful or melodic. Like, you have some spots later on the album where it does get a little bit more, I would say melodic, but like not pleasantly melodic, like not like, ooh, that's very pretty. It's death metal melodic, so it still sounds creepier than shit. But this band is just all about the riffs. The riffs are just kind of the backbone of it. I mean, that's kind of the backbone of a lot of like old school tinged death metal and just flat out old school death metal. A lot of stuff in here I think is very comparable to like early Tomb Mold, Coffin Rot, Incantation, especially in the tremolos. Lots of tremolo harmonies. They're very apocalyptic and evil sounding. But this band kind of goes all over the place in terms of like riff styles, in terms of like death metal, because there's some like stuff that borders on like early brutal death metal, like proto brutal death metal. Like, you get some like Suffocation-esque moments on here, stuff that's kind of similar, like Baphomet a bit too. But they do these really cool riff changes throughout this album between these like big, stupid, heavy chromatic chugs, like they're palm muted and it's just chunk, 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 chunk. I mean, like Dying Fetus kind of shit. And then switching over to these more atmospheric, dingy tremolo harmonies. And I kind of like this like give and take. Jagged Psyche and Chainsaw Ritual, which that opens with a chainsaw, and that's very fucking appropriate. Both of them kind of get in these like just full on like stomping chromatic chug beat downs. Like, it's, the beat where he just hits everything. You just hit everything all at once, and it's like a fucking 5-year-old behind the kit for the first time. So I just hit everything really hard and break shit. It's like, no, this is expensive, kid. Knock it off.
Right. But at the same time, sounds like the drummer has 8 arms because he legit hits everything. It's syncopated. So instead of like big, floor tom hits, which exist, but instead of that, it's everything. The snare, the toms, the cymbals, everything all at once. Just ka-jaw!
And that gives those chunky riffs like a lot of fucking bite. But this band, again, the old school vibe is kind of all over the place. Like, again, you get like that straight up old school stuff. Like, there's naturally a lot of stuff in here I would compare to like Autopsy. I mean, it kind of has that old school primal sound. Mm-hmm. Occasionally it sounds a little bit punky. And honestly, some of the drum work on here reminds me of Chris Reifert too. Mm-hmm. Very much in the pocket, but a lot of fun, clever fills and aggressive. Like, you hear it with every hit. He sounds like he's just beating the snot out of those drums. But you get stuff that is definitely a lot doomier and more just swampy and disgusting. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of like old school, like Finnish death metal, like early Amorphis or like Abhorrence and stuff like that.
I think Putridity in Existence is a good example of, first of all, the doomy aspect. Very, very nasty incantation, Autopsy-style doom. The harmonies on there that they have chosen are specifically unsettling. A lot of counter harmonies going on. The vocals in there, though, too. First of all, the vocals, I think, are great. The guy sounds very ghoulish, very evil sounding. The vocals are very out front, but not too overpowering. But in Putridity in Existence, there's this really cool, like almost, I don't know, like zombie searching for brains type of thing. It's like,
he's got some like extra dramatic moments. Like, I mean, the opening track, Habitual Illusion, he opens up with like just a fucking solid bleh. I mean, this bleh had some fucking phlegm behind it. But Putridity in Existence, dude, those groans are effective. Mm-hmm. And they're long, too. Mm-hmm. Like, he draws them out. It's like a fucking ogre waking up from like a long fucking bender. Just, oh, God, no.
It's like me when I get out of bed any morning at any given time, just, oh.
As soon as the sun hits your eyes, like, oh, God, just fucking kill me. But they work so well with the song because, I mean, you have like these droning single chords and then they turn into like this harmonized tremolo, and it stays that way for a while because this album is all about riff changes. So when you get a moment they hang on to, you fucking kind of treasure it a bit. Mm-hmm. But it builds into this cool double time section, gets nice and like, chuggy and fucking mean, and then it closes back down with that just droning, heavy, groaning fucking death metal, and it's just fucking awesome. Like, one of my favorite tracks on the album. But that track and the one before it, Pestilence Fog, are two of my particular favorites for completely different reasons. Now, again, a lot of this old school charm, chuggy, riffy, it sounds dank and musty.
Yep.
Honestly, the atmosphere in this album feels a lot like the fucking swamp-ass weather that we have going on outside right now.
Oh my God, it's gnarly.
Oh, dude, like, it's like breathing like directly over a humidifier in an 80-degree room. But Pestilence Fog is flat out ooga booga. Like, it's the most caveman song on there. Like, these riffs are primal as hell. This song legit fucking shits in its hand and throws it at you. It's built on just these gut-stomping grooves. Again, these primal riffs. Like, there's not really anything intricate going on, and believe me, intricacy would not be welcome in this song. No. It needs to say, ugly. It's got a little bit of a hardcore kind of bite to it, too.
At times.
Kind of remind me of, like, Creeping Death a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just straight, absolutely bone-crushing ooga booga.
Like, seriously, like, you play that song enough, you might forget how to read. I feel like illiteracy could be contagious with that one, and that would be like patient zero right there. But yeah, a lot of this, again, just 90s death metal charm. Once again, that'll pretty much always win us over.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like even the song titled Rotted Back to Life has to be a little bit of a Cannibal Corpse nod. There's points in here where they definitely have some big, heavy Cannibal Corpse riffs, like, and specifically like the Barnes era sound. Mm-hmm. But this album is short. Like, it is only 29 minutes long, but they pack a lot in here and even squeeze in moments for atmosphere too. Like, Chainsaw Ritual opens up with chainsaws and some chick screaming. that's absolutely perfect. Jagged Psyche has a creepy music box outro, which, yeah, music boxes have always sounded creepy to me. Like, they've never sounded pleasant. If I hear one go off, I'm like, well, this place is haunted, I'm leaving.
Gotta go. Streetlights are on, I gotta go home.
And they do squeeze in a fair amount of atmosphere in the last track, which was a bit of a surprise and probably the most different song on here because it's a closing instrumental called Cold Blood, which is lush and atmospheric, both in a creepy sense and like a dreamlike sense. And a lot of it is in the chord changes because they do like, these minor chords to open up. It's a clean tone. You get these like squealy leads on top, but it's kind of a pleasant melody. And then it shifts into this very bright section. Like it kind of feels a little dreamlike. There's wind chimes and a gong. It's Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey. Except, metal. But it shifts back into the minor chords. And this song in particular, like the vibe on it, it kind of reminded me of like, you're in a dream. And you kind of feel the atmosphere start to change. You're on the precipice of it being a nightmare or staying just kind of a weird dream. Like, yeah, I'm at the Playboy Mansion and everything's cool. Oh, shit, they're all fucking zombies. Right. I mean, they're still hot, though. So I don't know. We're going to ride it out.
Or you go out into the parking lot and you're minding your own business and suddenly you're in a go-kart and you're wildly crapping your pants in front of the chick that plays Sansa Stark.
That's a very specific dream. Have you had that one?
I played the fifth.
You had that dream, didn't you?
I did.
Oh my God.
I did. It was very unfortunate because I was having a great time. I was in a go-kart and Sophie Williams was there. That's the chick that plays Sansa Stark, and it was great. But then I started uncontrollably shitting my pants, and there's no recovering from that. All right, it happened. I'm sorry,
dude. Stay in therapy forever.
I plan on. I'm gonna bring that up at my next session. By the way, I had a dream back in 2012. I had this dream. That's when it was too. I remember. Anyway, it's kind of like that, where you think it's going to be a great time, but then you're not sure because it might be a nightmare, and then you wake up, and thankfully you haven't shit your pants.
Well, I don't even know how to follow that confession.
No.
But I will say, in terms of any negatives on here, the frequent riff changes, at least early on the album, I wouldn't say like they hamper the album, because I love chunky, nasty riffs and dreary, ugly tremolos, especially when they're harmonized and sound extra evil. But I feel like a lot of like the stuff early on in the album is kind of like a blend. Like you don't get like a flat out like all fast song or like a flat out doomy song or like just a groove laden beat down. It's kind of a blend of all those things up until you get towards some of the later tracks where, Pestilence Fog, Putridity and Existence, and Cold Blood are absolute standout songs because they're very unique. Again, that's not really a dig because, it kind of reminded me a lot of 200 Stab Wounds, and I really love, like, Slaves of the Scalpel. Like, that first album absolutely fucking whoops ass. But it's riff change city. It took me a little while to get used to how frequently they changed riffs on that one, and it's a little bit different on the second one, too, because they kind of hang on to riffs a little bit longer, so, like, all right, kind of adjusting. That and this album is, again, vastly different from the first one, at least on a production standpoint, but musically a little bit different. But again, I feel like this band regressed like from a Cro-Magnon all the way to a Neanderthal, and it works because, man, this album is heavy as fuck. The riffs are fun. And again, this is a style of death metal that, it's always going to have, like a space in terms of like listening for me.
Pretty much for both of us. You kind of got us with nasty, chuggy riffs and disgusting ass tremolos. Those are two staples in death metal where if I hear them, I'm automatically like, well, this band's good. And these guys are no slouch. I don't really have any complaints, even with the frequent riff changes in the beginning. It's disgusting enough to keep me engaged, because I'm more at that point just straight stank face, just bleh. And that's what I really enjoy. If I did knock this record on anything, it would be the fact that it's only 29 minutes long. It felt like a few of these songs, especially in the beginning, maybe didn't get a chance to fully breathe. Obviously, if you're not hanging on to riffs that long and you're switching things all the time, you don't get like kind of the full effect. And I feel like later in the record, when they actually did that, that's when everything kind of opened up. So that might be the only thing I would knock it on. But again, it's not really a dig either because I also loved every song. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this record 4 stars. It's just straight gnarly, just straight unrelenting skull-crushing heaviness. Awesome, again, low-end tremolos, which I'm a sucker for. I will always be a sucker for chuggy riffs. The vocals are ghoulish and haunting. Everything sounds evil. It's dark. It just, I don't know. It's pretty much everything I like about death metal. And while I like the record before it, I like that this is a little bit more groove-laden and holds on to a lot of that ooga-booga primitive style of music that I enjoy. It's filthy, swampy sounding, nasty guitar tone. Again, the drums sound very raw and natural. The bass snarls, of course, why wouldn't it? Because Greg Wilkinson mixed the album. If you're into bands like Tomb Mold, Incantation, Suffocation, Corpus Awful, Zompantly, stuff like that, you're probably really going to dig this. I would recommend checking this out.
Yeah, honestly, I'm at a 4 too. Like, this is just solid, old school, grimy, filthy death metal. I think the production change really kind of like opened up their sound a little bit more. Like, the guitar tone in here is so goddamn good.
Yes, it is.
Like, it's just rich and full and chunky. Everything sounds like appropriately filthy and gritty on here. Great vocals, riffs a fucking plenty. Again, those harmonized tremolos and those like big dumb chromatic chugs. Yep. I fucking love it.
Yep.
The doomy sections on here, again, like kind of like a Finnish death metal vibe every now and then. It's kind of just like, you know, a blend of like a lot of things that I love about death metal in general. Yep. And it's all executed really well. Yeah, some of the songs are a little like riff changey, and I do think maybe it is a little bit short. But honestly, I'd rather have it be short and sweet and just to the point than kind of like drawing everything out and, you know, leaving it a chance to get boring. There's really no chance for this to get boring because it's constantly just beating you over the head with fucking just ooga booga ugly fucking riffs. Yep. Yeah, if you're a fan again of bands like Tomb Mold and Coffin Rot especially, Corpus Awful, Cerebral Rot by extension too. A little bit of Creeping Death, Incantation, Cannibal Corpse,
Venom.
Yeah, just gross death metal. If you love gross death metal, I think you're gonna fucking love this. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They're only 99 cents, and our Lone Perk is doing a members-only live stream, which I know we haven't done one in a while. As soon as he gets some time off, we're going to do them, because, of course, we want to include John, because I wouldn't want to leave him out, or at least, you know, I wouldn't want him sitting next to me when I was going to tell him I was going to leave him out. That'd be fucking awkward.
Right. That would make the next series of reviews very difficult.
But membership's the main way to support the channel, and if you would like to become a member, there's a join button down there for you to fucking Cro-Magnon fucking smash after listening to a couple of these songs, because that's the kind of energy that, well, I mean, I'm sure the join button doesn't want, but that's the energy we want.
Yes, will always be the energy we want. But even if you don't hit the join button, it's cool. No harm, no foul. We're not really overly worried about it. You're still going to get a ton of content either way. Not only do we have those members-only live streams, we have non-members-only live streams, which are equally as stupid. Sometimes we have guests that join us in our stupidity. I think they dig that. I'm not 100%. Nick's never-ending collection updates. States of Metal. Is it metal? Is it not metal? Tons of other metal segments that we have. We have discography rankings. We have At the Gates. It's coming, I promise. As soon as I get the hell off of overtime at work and get my life back, we will get to the album ranking. We have also in tandem with it the Thralls of Metal Greatest Hits that go, again, in tandem with those rankings. You'll see it. I don't know. We appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for being a part of Thralls of Metal. Thank you for continuing to come here and comment and do all the wonderful things you do that keep this channel moving. We couldn't do it without you. I mean, we probably could, but, you know, it'd just be boring. You guys make it fun. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you, because you're awesome, and we will catch you later.